it's Nina with Walla Stamping. Thanks for joining me today. This is the project that I'm going to be sharing with you. I recently had someone join my team, and I want to send out a little welcome packet to her. So I'm going to include this in that welcome packet. Now I have a goodie in here to send to her, and this I'm calling a wallet style box just because it does close up very similar to what a rectangular shaped wallet would close. So it opens like this, and then when you open up the inside you can see that I have some rhinestones in there that I'm going to be sending out to her, and then the belly band just keeps that closed. I want to let you know that I do have a kit here from this pattern, and as well I'll mention that the instruction sheet over on my blog will be for all of these products. I'm going to be demonstrating this box to you today in different paper, and I will have the name of all of those supplies on the screen, but when you go over to the blog to get the instruction sheet, it will be for these items here. Also, while you're over there on my blog, make sure that you look for a post called Blog Candy. Leave a comment to be entered to win this pack of assorted glimmer paper, and I have it upside down. So anyways, this is a pack of glimmer paper. Let me show you all the colors that's in here. This is something that was available to us back during celebration, and it's got 3 different colors of glimmer paper in there, and it is a 6x6 pack. And I'm going to be giving this away, but it is for a limited time. There is a deadline to leave a comment, so make sure that you check that out. Alright, so let's slide this to the side, and I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing today. So the paper I'm going to use for the demonstration is a whole lot of lovely designer series paper, and I have this piece cut to 12 inches by 7 3/8. Then I have a couple of pieces of So Saffron. This one is 7 by 3, and this one is 11 by 1.5. I also have a piece of Pear Pizzazz, 11 by 1 1/4. And then finally a piece of Fresh Fig. This is 3 by 3. So I'm going to grab my Simply Scored scoring tool. We're going to put our paper in so the 12-inch side is across the top, and we're going to start out scoring at 2 1/4 inches, then at 2 3/4, 6 7/8, 7 3/8, and 11 1/2. Then we're going to turn our paper so that the 7 3/8 is at the top. We're going to score it a 1/2 inch on this side. Turn the paper to the opposite side and score at a 1/2 inch again. So this is all the scoring that you need to do on this project. I'm going to go ahead and fold all of my score lines. And since this is designer series paper, you can choose to use your bone folder if you want to, but it's not necessary. So I'm going to grab my scissors, and we're going to do a little bit of trimming. First of all, this little square down here, we're going to cut that away, both sides. Then on the other end where you had that 2 1/4 inch score line, we're going to start down here at the second score line and cut up there, and then we're going to cut this rectangle and that little square completely off, and we're going to do that on both sides. Then we have a couple of score lines left, and we're just going to cut straight up each of those and stop at the first horizontal score line. Now when your box closes up, this portion will end up being the front, and the part that has the little flap here will come over like this. Now these two tabs here, one is going to fold right over the top of the other. So the one that's going to end up being on top, we're going to leave it intact. We're not going to cut an angle out of that one at all. But the one that's going to be underneath, which is the portion right next to where this little flap is going to be, we are going to cut a little wedge out of each end of that. So do that on this side, as well as this little small tab. Now you don't need to cut much out of it, but cut a little bit of a wedge. Then we're going to flip it around to the other side. I'm actually going to move that one out of the way. And I'm going to cut a little bit of a wedge out of the small one and the long one. I'm going to clean up here just a little bit. So now what we're going to do is use our fast fuse, and the two large tabs that have the angles cut out of them, I'm going to run a strip of fast fuse down each of those, and then we will put our box together. Now you'll want to fold in that little small tab, then fold in the larger tab that has the adhesive on it, fold your box over, and then just lay this other tab on top of the one to the inside and make sure you get everything lined up there. Then flip it over to the other side, fold in your small tab, fold in the tab that has the adhesive. It'll be easier for me if I sit it down, and then fold over what I'm considering or calling the front tab, which is really a side, but I think you know what I'm getting at. Then this will turn in, this will fold over, and there is your box ready to go. So now we'll set it aside and we'll go ahead and get our belly band done. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the cardstock that is 1.5 inches wide, flip my box over on the back. I did not get that lined up exactly straight. So when you're doing your box, just take a little more time with it and make sure that you get it lined up straight, because this one's going to end up being just a little bit wonky shaped because I didn't take my time with it. So I'm going to line up this paper right here about 1/8 of an inch away from the top of the box, and then I'm just going to gently pinch that around this corner with my fingers. Then I'll remove it and I'll grab my bone folder, make sure the sides of your paper is lined up nicely, and then give that a good sharp crease. Then I'll just put it back on my box and fold that around the second corner, and just continue on in this method until I get all the way back around and both loose ends of my paper end up meeting up with each other. So when you attach this to your box, you'll want to start with this longer section here, wrap that all the way around, and so what we're going to do is we're going to end up putting adhesive here and here. So I'm just going to use my fast fuse to do that. So put adhesive there, and I'm going to actually have to lay this down on a hard surface to do that, and there. Then when you wrap it around your box, the little short tab you want tucked on the inside, and the longer one you're going to put on the top. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our pear pizzazz and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to wrap it around the box, creasing it with our fingers, and then folding it with our bone folder. When I get ready to put this on the box, I'm going to put some adhesive here, and then on the little small portions right there that'll go on the very top and the very bottom of your box, I'm going to put adhesive in those two areas too. Get this lined up with the first one and center it. Then just wrap it around, and where I have that adhesive, I'm going to stick that down. And I'm going to go ahead and, well, actually I told you that backwards. Don't stick this down yet. Or if you do, just do it very lightly. Then we're going to tuck in that little short piece and then come back up on top and take that long piece and adhere it down. So there you go. Just like that. I want to grab my other piece of So Saffron, and I'm going to be using Basic Black Archival ink. The stamp set that I'm going to be using is a 2-package stamp set because there's so many sentiments in here. It's called Special Celebrations. I'm going to be using this stamp that says Welcome Baby, but I'm not going to be using the baby part. My friend probably won't mind if I call her baby, but I'm choosing not to. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this little post-it note and I'm going to cover up the word baby with it. I'm going to get the word welcome inked up really well, remove that post-it note, and then stamp the word welcome right down here on my cardstock. So we only have to stamp that one time. Then I'm going to use the Pretty Label punch, and I really like this punch. I love the shape of it. And I'm going to line up the word welcome in the center of that punch and get that punched out. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this one where I just punched. I'm just going to trim that piece off, and I'm going to punch this out 2 more times. The reason for doing this is I want my little medallion that I'm putting together to be thicker and be quite substantial. Alright, so let me find the one that I stamped. It's right there. Now I'm going to grab my multi-purpose liquid glue and just put a little bit of glue on this one and this one that are not stamped. And then I'm going to put my welcome on top of one of them, and make sure when you put this together that you get all the sides lined up and even, and then stick that on top of the third one. And then again, just get them all lined up. So there's our little medallion ready to go. I'm going to grab my piece of fresh fig, and I'm going to move some things out of the way and grab my Big Shot. The Thinlet set I'm going to be using is the Seasonal Layers Thinlets, and I'm just going to use this little flower right here to cut out the flowers to go on my medallion. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this on here and cut 4 out. To get my flowers adhered to the top of my medallion, I'm just going to be using some mini glue dots. And the way that I find that's easier for me is I kind of decide where I want my flower to go, and I'll put my glue dot down and then stick my flower to it. Now I am going to have a printable PDF with all the instructions and the measurement, as well as the list of supplies that I have used to create this project. So when you're at my blog, make sure that you print off the PDF, and if you're in need of any of the supplies to recreate this project, you can shop directly from my online store from my blog. So I've got those flowers stuck down, and I'm going to put in the center of those one of the glitter enamel dots. I think for this one, since my background is yellow, I think that I may use the yellow dots. Now on the other ones I use the very smallest ones, but I've used those for another project. So I'm going to bump on up and move up a size in these, but you may want to use the very smallest ones like I did on my other one. Alrighty, so we got that done. Now we'll want to adhere that to our belly band, and to do that with, I'm just going to take a little bit of my fast fuse, and I'm going to run a strip of that right down the middle, top to bottom, on my medallion. So it's on the back, but it's going straight up and down. The reason I'm doing it that way is if I ran it side to side, I'm afraid I would get it too long and then end up sticking it to my actual box instead of just the belly band. So I'm going to place that on there like that, and I'm all done. So let me bring this one back in. Okay, so this is the first one that I made, and this is the second one. I like them both. I tend to lean toward this one because I like the bright colors, and I love the lemon lime twist with the berry burst and the black together. I like both of the designer series paper, but this color combination just speaks to me more than this color combination. So if there's anybody that you would like to make this little box for, remember to get your printable PDF over in my blog. If you have any questions about anything, make sure to send me an email and let me know. Subscribe to my YouTube channel as well as my newsletter. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.